Hey everyone, this is Sarah Black with Hardcore Vigilante Studios, and today I'm going to be doing a review of some Arteza products. So I reached out to Arteza and they were super nice and sent me some Everblend markers and Etonic fine liner pens to review. This video is going to be primarily focused on the markers because I want to do an entirely different video for the pens. However, I do use the pens a little bit in this video just to try them out. So let's get into it without further ado. So the first thing I did when I got the markers was I swatched them out on a piece of paper. From what I can tell, the color of the caps matched what came out on the paper, and the caps were labeled with a number letter code combination and the names of the colors. I'm not too sure what the letter number combination really meant, but the names were helpful, so that's what I ended up going by. So the first thing I noticed when I was swatching the colors out was that this set doesn't have a lot of colors for skin tones. I got the set of 60 markers that retails for about $69.99, and there are about 3 colors, peach, soft peach, and jasmine yellow, that I felt comfortable using for one of my characters, Sapphire, who is Russian. I didn't try out any of the darker markers because I didn't have any of my Siobhan pieces to work on. So in this video, I'm working on some non-human characters, so that way we can test out a lot more of the markers. I have 2 fairies and an alien from Neptune. So the first test I did was on this Sakura piece, a cherry blossom fairy. I did some light erasing to get rid of the darker pencil marks, then I sealed the rest of the pencil marks with a light wash of pink watercolor to protect the markers from getting dirty. However, that turned out not to be needed because when I used the markers over the pencil in the Neptune drawing the blue piece, the pencils didn't transfer and the tips of the markers turned out fine, so yay! I can skip that step. Awesome. Let's move on. So another reason I used the watercolor first was I wanted to see how well the Arteza markers were able to blend on top of that. Because sometimes when I use my Copic markers and I put down watercolor first, it kind of hinders the blending ability of the Copic markers. I think this set of colored markers worked the best for the Sakura piece because the shades of pink were really close together, so it made for a lot of smooth blends. I was also able to use the peach and light peach colors to supplement. Then afterwards, I used some of the pens to outline the drawing, and this is actually the first time outside of digital painting that I was able to use colored lines on a drawing, and I really love how it came out. I was able to line the drawing without making it feel all grounded. moving on to Wisteria, the drawing in which I torture myself. So I thought it would be fun to have her hair made from wisteria flowers. Then I committed to this idea. Then I looked up how small wisteria petals are and instantly hated myself. That only took forever. So for this one, I decided to do the inking first, which proved to be very difficult because I had to decide which color inks would go where before I filled in the sections. Yeah, that didn't end up working out. I ended up having to stop that and then just marker first and then ink later. But I wanted to do that at least for the hair because I wanted to see how the markers would react to the inks they gave me. And it pretty much just made the ink fade, and so I had to, in the end, go over the parts that I wanted to look inked with more ink, so it was kind of a bust. So, for future reference, just ink last. So for these last two pieces, I kind of ran into a problem with the color choices that they gave me being pretty limited because there weren't a lot of blues and purples that were close together or very light. So it was very hard for me to blend from the darkest purple to a lighter purple. But for Wisteria, I was able to use light purples, the soft peaches, and a glacier gray to blend things out and keep it still like light and fairy looking without too many like dark unblended sections. However, when it came to Neptune, yeah, I had so much trouble. I don't know what to tell you. A lot of the blues were just very dark. So after I ran into this problem, I started looking into the markers that Arteza offers to see if there was any way to sort of get around this problem. So Arteza does sell a larger pack of 120 markers, and they have a lot more shades. So I think using that pack, blending the colors would be a lot easier. However, even in that pack, it doesn't look like they have a lot of colors for skin tones. And I'm saying this from a perspective of somebody who uses a lot of markers for skin tones. I like to have a range of skin tone colors that kind of just covers everyone, from like the lightest person to the darkest person, and then everything in between. And knowing that and using that for like each character, I like to take my time when it comes to their skin tones, and I like to use like 10 to 20 markers. So if that's not something that you normally do for a character, you probably won't find this as a problem. So if you're just starting off as a marker artist, you might have a little issue with Arteza because they don't sell individual markers, which is one of the things that I kind of enjoy doing, is just getting individual markers and kind of creating my own set. So they do not sell individual markers. They have a set of 60 markers, which this is the one I got that you can get. But then they have a pack of 120, but if you get that pack after you get the 60 pack, you're gonna get 60 duplicate markers. So you kind of have to know ahead of time if you really want the markers, and then just invest in the 120 set, because if you get the 60 set, you're going to be getting duplicate markers. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. So my suggestion to them would be to sell 2 different packs of 60 markers. So you could get like set A, and then you get 60 colors, and you get set B, and you get 60 completely different colors, and you have like the whole set, versus selling it the way that they do. Because right now, you're kind of either going to get 60 markers and then want more, and then have to get the same 60 markers plus 60 new ones. So that's my suggestion, just to make it easier for artists to sort of incrementally step into it, sort of buy some markers without having to commit over $100, because especially if you're just starting out, that can seem like a pretty hefty investment. And especially if you're not in charge of your own finances, like if you're dependent on a parent or relatives or something like that, it can be really hard to convince your parents to spend $120 on markers for you. But all in all, I would definitely recommend these markers because they are super vibrant and really rich. If you want to design bright characters that pop off the page, these are really great. I'm used to using Copic markers, and they are designed to be transparent, which makes blending very easy. However, you have to work really hard to get bold and bright colors. So definitely this was really exciting to work with colors that were already just vibrant, popping off the page. It made things look really awesome. So I was definitely really excited by all of the colors, really excited to use them, and I will definitely keep using them, especially going forward, considering I'm doing a cyberpunk comic book where it's going to be like a mixture of like grunge and dark places, but like really bright neon colors and vibrancies. So this is definitely going to come in handy, and I will totally keep using these. Markers have a chisel tip, and chisel tip, also known as a wide tip, and a bullet nib or a fine point nib. And I know that might bother some people because brush tips are so much easier to use and they blend way better and like a lot faster, but this didn't really bother me because I'm used to using chisel tips and fine tip nibs, so I've already learned how to blend with them, so it doesn't really bother me. If they ever come out with a set of brush tips, I will definitely look into getting those. Also, when it comes to blending, one of the things that I found really awesome about the Arteza markers was the fact that if you used a lighter tone of markers on top of a darker tone of markers, then the lighter tone would actually lighten that whole area. It was crazy. It was like a mini eraser, just lightly just taking color off of it. So I guess if you mess up, you could just try and go over it with a lighter marker and see how much of it you can lighten. So that was definitely something that was super awesome. So that's the video. Overall, great markers, great color, definitely awesome blend, quality markers. If you're just starting out and you can afford to buy the 120 set, I would definitely recommend the 120 set. But if you're an artist like me and you already have a ton of markers, but you're just looking for some brighter colors and some vibrancy to add to your Copic set, then this will definitely help out as well. Cannot recommend these colors enough. They are so vibrant. And again, I just want to thank Arteza for sending me this pack of markers and the pens. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If this is something that you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see more of in the future. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.